Hey there, U9. So, like I said, I'm going to make a video to guide you along with this lead program handbook or handout, the one that I handed out along with all the notes. So, this one, remember, you're doing it before you go into lead. It's meant to help prepare you so that you can run your own sort of experimental, I think, surveys. So, here's an example. Okay, and I think there's a lot of things that you can do here, but first things first. It says you want to analyze a categorical data, right, or variable. And what that just basically means is that can you think of a data that doesn't use numbers? Okay, so some examples are like hair color. You can have blue hair, green hair, red hair. You can survey people. It's like, what color of hair do you have? And you say, is it blue? How many people have it? You know, it could be 2 people. Green might have like 10 people, and then black hair could be like 0. So that's how you collect data, right? But this is categorical. Here, what they're asking you to do on the bottom here is to create a multiple choice survey, okay, question that will collect a categorical variable. So you can come up with whatever you want. So the question, for example, that they gave you is, which subject is your favorite in semester 2 of 2024? So which is your favorite subject? So the possible answers could be, is it English? Is it maths, science, humanities, art, or other? So you can see that this is a survey question, and the answers that people pick, the data that you're collecting is categorical because it's not a number. It's based on, is it English? Is it maths? Is it science? Get me? Whereas, and that's where you can create your question here. So some examples could be like, how many, oh no, not how many, categorical, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Ice cream flavor. That could have been your question. And if that was your question, well, you can give them an option. So you can give them X amount of options, or you can leave it open. But you could say chocolate is one option. So option 1, vanilla. You could say strawberry. So maybe it's just 3, and you can just see how many people, what they would choose out of those 3, or you could put other, and then they can fill it in. It's up to you. So that's an example of a categorical variable data for that question, right? And then once you got your question and you've decided how you're going to collect the data, you can then give it to 10 people. So maybe 10 people in your classroom. You can put names, or you can call them person 1 or person A, person B, person C, person D. It's up to you how you want to label it. But then you tally, the response could have been chocolate, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or maybe those are the only 3, and then you tally it up. So tally is the line. So every time you hit 5, you do a cross. So you tally it, and then your frequency, you give me the number. So you say that one would be 7. If this was 3, then that's 3. If this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there you go. So then frequency is 10. So here you're going to learn to then put it into a percentage. Well, what's the total right now? That's 7 plus 3, which is 10. 10 plus 10. That's 20 people that you interviewed, right? So 20 people in your class, even though they asked only 10 people. Or maybe let's stick it to 10. Let's stick to 10, actually. Let me do that again as an example. Let's say only 2 people like chocolate, 2 people like vanilla, but then 6 people liked strawberry. That's a total of 10 people, right? So then you do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's an example. So how would you do the percentage frequency? Well, it's 2 out of the 10 people who like chocolate, 2 out of 10 who like vanilla, and 6 out of 10 who like strawberry. To convert this to percentage, all you have to do is times them all by 100. And you can do this on a calculator. You literally will just type in 2 divide 10, because that's what 2 over 10 means. 2 divide 10 times 100. And that should give you 20%. And this one would be 2 divide 10 again, times by 100, gives you 20% again. And if you did this one, that would be 6 divide 10 times 100, and that gives you 60%. So they should all add up to 100%, because that's everyone. Okay, so that's an example. Don't stick to my example. Just come up with your own. That's the idea. I'm just guiding you through this. Okay, and then once you've got this, now they want you to draw a histogram. So you then say, all right, well, remember frequency is always on the vertical axis. So in our case, we have 2, 2, and 6. So Seems like I can go by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 if I wanted to. And then the categories I've got is chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. Okay, and then you can then fill it in. So how many people liked chocolate? 2. So I draw a histogram, I draw a bar. Okay, and then how many people liked vanilla? It was also 2 again. And then how many people liked strawberry? It was 6. So I'll then do this. Okay, so obviously use a ruler instead of doing what I'm doing here. But there you go. That would be an example of how you would draw a chart or bar chart by hand. Okay, so you got your variable, categorical variable on the x-axis, and then your frequency is always on your vertical axis. Okay, describe your data in 1 or 2 sentences. So the most frequent, well, that's your mode. So the mode clearly is strawberry. Least frequent, well, it's both chocolate and vanilla. So describe your data. You would say the most favorite ice cream flavor in this class is, and you would say then strawberry. And in the least favorite ice cream flavor would be both chocolate and vanilla, or is least liked in the class of 10 people surveyed. Something like that, So that's an example of how you would then describe. So you just flush it out so that people understand. If someone looked at the tally frequency table and then they looked at your chart and then they looked at your comment, they understand what you're actually doing. Versus, so that was categorical. Over here, now on the next page, you are now doing numerical. Now, feel free to pause the video wherever you're up to and just let it give you a guide along the way. So numerical is where you actually use numbers now. So some examples would be like questions that involve the number of siblings. Height is a numerical data, but it is continuous. So meaning that you can get a lot of different answers for that one, whereas this is a bit more countable. It's like 1, 2, 3. You can't have 3.5, but height, you can have 173.1 or 173.4 centimeters tall. So that can get a bit tricky when you're doing the data for that. So for those who aren't really comfortable with maths and statistics, I would say stick to the data so that it's countable. Okay, so stick to countable data. So when you make your question, it might be easier to make it so that you can get just countable data. So an example would be something like, how many countries have you visited? Okay, and then that, you could say then 1, 2, 3. So you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, or you leave it open for the people to answer. So you might survey now 10 people and you ask them, and so person 1 might say, I've been to 2 countries, none, or 3, or 2, or 5. And then, you can then tally it just like you did before. So it could be 5, 6 could be, I don't know, again, let's say 2, 3, 3, 1, none. Something like that. I don't know. I'm just making it up right now. And then you can do the same thing again. You can list all your data in ascending. Now, ascending means smallest to largest. So smallest to largest. Now, if you did that, you can see the smallest number is clearly 0. How many zeros do I have? I've got 2 of them. How many 1s do I have? I've got 1 of them. How many 2s do I have? I've got 1, 2, and 3. So there's 3 2s. 1, 2, 3, and then there's also 3 3s. I shouldn't have done that, but now there is, and there's only 1 5. Is that 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. All right, so that's my data. Okay, so I've collected my data from smallest to largest, and then now you can do what you've done in our exercises. Find the mean, find the median, find the mode, find the range. So again, how do you find the mean? You add all the numbers together and divide it by the number of numbers. Now we know there are 10 people, and we're adding them all together. So 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5. And you divide that all by 10. That's to get the mean. Median's the same thing. So remember finding the middle. So your data, you've got 10 of them. So since you got 10, that means the median has to sit between the 5th and the 6th position. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the middle is in between the 5th and the 6th. So that means clearly The answer is 2. So median is 2. If you're wondering how I knew it was the 5th and 6th, remember that rule where it's n plus 1 divided by 2. So 10 plus 1 divided by 2 gives me 11 on 2, and that's 5.5. So that's why I knew it was between the 5th and the 6th position. Okay. And the mode, well, clearly you've got 2 modes. You've got 2 and 3 is the most popular, so the number of countries they visited was 2 or 3. And the range is the distance from the smallest to the largest. So maximum minus minimum. So the maximum number is 5 minus minimum number is 0. So the range is 5. Okay, this one you can do on the calculator. There you go. But that was a very quick way to show you the difference between the data you can collect. It's either categorical, so there's a name to it. So like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or numerical, which could be a number. So you're collecting data that is number-wise rather than a label. Okay? And then when you move on to the next one, remember 5-number summary, you need to find Q1, Q3, and interquartile range. So remember, what's Q1? Q1 is the middle of the lower half. So here's your lower half of the data. And then this is the upper half of the data because the middle gets cut in half, right? So that's the middle. So the lower half, what's the middle there? And you can see that the middle is clearly 1, whereas on the upper half, what's the middle of the upper half? Well, it's 3. So this is what we call Q3, so upper quartile middle, and then this one is called Q1. So Q1 is 1 and Q3 is 3. So we normally say that is when we say the median, remember that was the 50th percentile. That was the 50th percentile, and then Q1 is the 25th percentile, and then Q3 is the 75th percentile. So if I drew it on a line for you so you can see, remember the box plot stuff? You got minimum, then you got maximum. So that's minimum, maximum. Then you got your 25th percentile, which is Q1, so that's 25% here. Then you got your middle, which is your median. Median's Q2, so that's 50%. And then you got your Q3, that's your 75%. So if you put it all together, that gives you your quarters. Can you see that? So from here to here is 25%. I'll do it in green, so 25% there. And then from Q1 to Q2 is another 25%. So 25 plus 25, that now gives you 50%. So half the data is there. And then you do it again, 25% from Q2 to Q3. And then the last 25% over here, that adds all up to another 50%. So hence you get 100%. Okay, so Q1 to Q3, this distance from Q1 to Q3 is what we call the IQR. So that's a quick brush up on box plots. If you wanted to look more into this, to brush up on your understanding of statistics, it's exercise 9K. Have a look at my video on that one. But answering the question here, Q1, which found out was 1, and Q3 was 3. So IQR is Q3 minus Q1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, and then down here, I just actually drew the box plot just now. So if you put it all together, you can then draw your box plot as well. Okay, I'm just sort of rushing through this because I think for most of it, as long as you've watched my video on the exercises like 9K, exercise 9K is key. And if you want to do stem and leaf plot, I've got a video on that for exercise 9H. Okay, so stem and leaf plot is 9H and box plot is 9K. You can watch the video there to know how to answer these questions. But these are some model answers down here, so you can check your answers just to get a vibe of what you could do for your own lead question and how you collect the data. These are some examples for you to go through. Okay, and that's it. That's my guide for today's session if you are up to the lead program for week 2.